As far as Aurora's consent decree, that's supposed to mean more oversight, more scrutiny on the city and its police force. This comes as people in the community are calling for answers as far as the death of Kilyn Lewis.
9 News reporter Rachel Krause is joining us now. And Rachel, now the independent monitor in charge of that consent decree is raising questions as well.
Yeah, and Kim, that monitor was first set up following the death of Elijah McClain to handle Aurora and APD's handling of his death in an effort to improve how officers use force and interact with people of color. Now, that monitor is calling on APD to provide answers about what happened in the death of Kilyn Lewis.
Well, I think there are issues that have to be answered.
A new report released by Aurora's consent decree monitor is raising questions over the shooting of Kilyn Lewis. In May, officers were serving an arrest warrant against Lewis when he was shot and killed by an Aurora police officer. Lewis was unarmed. Monitor Jeff Schlanger questions APD's involvement in executing a Denver arrest warrant.
And there were questions with respect to the tactics that were employed, including whether or not there were less lethal options that were available during the encounter.
The report also questions if APD's tactical approach was appropriate and notes that the officer who killed Lewis has been involved in prior shootings, raising questions about how APD selects and retains SWAT team officers.
Obviously, there needs to be a fresh look at the question of whether or not the officer reasonably believed that his life or the lives of others were in danger by the actions of Mr. Lewis.
While the DA's office announced earlier this month the officer who shot Lewis won't be charged, Schlanger says an administrative review and force review board are still looking at these issues, and APD will have to answer.
APD recognizes that we need answers to the questions that we put in the report. And I am certain that between the administrative investigation and the FRB, the Force Review Board process, that we will get those answers.
Now, Schlanger says in this phase of the consent decree, they're keeping an eye on how APD is following its new policies, trainings, and procedures. And that includes taking a look at what happened to Kilyn Lewis. Now, I reached out to Aurora Police about the questions raised in this report. I have not yet received a response. Reporting live in Aurora, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
All right, Rachel, thanks very much. Staying with Aurora Police, APD says one of their own killed a teenager during an early morning shootout. It happened at an apartment complex not far from Jewel in Peoria. Someone called 911 late last night telling dispatchers there'd been an argument involving several roommates. The caller said one of those roommates, an 18-year-old with a gun, had assaulted a woman and was threatening his roommates. Aurora Police sent in their hostage negotiation team. They got the woman out of the apartment, but the 18-year-old stayed inside. Police say they tried to negotiate with him to surrender, but he went to the doorway and fired shots at officers. One officer shot back. The young man later died in the hospital. Aurora Police have not yet publicly identified him. The officer who shot him is now on administrative leave per department policy.
Agencies in southern Colorado are mourning the death of a paramedic who was killed in a crash on his way to work. The Custer County Sheriff's Office says 39-year-old Andrew Fernandez died in a two-car crash just north of Westcliff. It happened yesterday. CSP says Andrew lost control and collided with a pickup truck going the wrong direction. The driver of the truck and his passenger both had minor injuries. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused Andrew to lose control. The Sheriff's Office says he worked as a paramedic for over a decade. He leaves behind a wife and 2-year-old daughter.
The mountains will get more snow tonight. Take a look at Aspen. The National Weather Service says areas above 9,000 feet could pick up several inches by tomorrow afternoon. So let's get right to meteorologist Lauren Robinson with the 9 News Weather Impact Team. Lauren?
Yeah, we're going to see that snow pick up across central and even northern portions of the high country after most of that snow started across the southwestern corner of Colorado earlier in this system. But as you take a look at its current path, it's starting to churn its way right over the Front Range. And to the southeast, we're looking for some showers and storms. And then to the northwest, we're looking for more snow. So we zoom in to where we do have the strongest showers and storms. This is going to be southern portions of the Front Range into southern portions of the plains where we do do have a severe thunderstorm warning out right now. This is going to be until around 10:30. And in these areas, we're just looking for some quick downpours. We're looking for gusty winds, lots of lightning and thunder there. But then as we make our way west of Denver, we're seeing a lot of that moisture finally make its way north of I-70 and start to bring some pretty moderate snow showers into central portions of the high country, with more rain off to the northwest. Now that a lot of that snow has left the southwestern corner of Colorado, behind it we're looking for freeze warnings overnight in these areas, with lows dropping to around 28 degrees. So coming up in my full 7-day forecast, we're going to talk a little bit more about that mountain snow. We could see a couple raindrops early tomorrow morning, but behind that we're going to see lots of sunny, warm weather. I'll have those details for you just ahead.
I want to get right to some breaking news that could affect you if you're on the roads tonight. I-25 northbound has been shut down at Colorado Boulevard. Police say they're investigating a serious crash. They say several people are being taken to hospitals. Still not clear as to how serious those injuries are, but if you're in that area trying to get northbound on I-25, again, it is shut down at Colorado Boulevard. Certainly an area you want to avoid, at least for a while tonight.
Colorado is one of the most protected states when it comes to abortion access. And on Election Day, voters will choose whether to codify abortion rights in the state's constitution. Advocates explain how this ballot initiative is rallying Black voters. Amendment 79 wouldn't change access to abortion in Colorado right away. If passed, it would put unrestricted abortion access into the state's constitution, requiring voters to make future changes, not lawmakers.
I would say as an African-American woman, this is extremely important to me.
Bianca Emerson with Colorado Black Women for Political Action wants to put those decisions in the hands of voters. So does Lauren Smith with Soul to Soul Sisters.
Again, I'm grateful to live in Colorado and do feel anxiety when I see how our rights are being turned back at the federal level.
In a post-Roe world, more than half of states have put restrictions on abortions, and more than a dozen states have banned them altogether.
And we know that there is a connection between maternal health and abortion care. In states that have abortion restrictions, they see significantly higher rates of maternal mortality.
We see that this is happening already throughout the country, and we don't want this to happen in Colorado.
Polling data from Coloradans for Protecting Reproductive Freedom shows in Colorado, 78% of Black voters support legalized abortion.
That study was really important because I think a lot of times Black people in Colorado, Black voters, are underestimated and overlooked.
Amendment 79 does not take care of our minority communities.
Brittany Vesley with Right to Know Colorado says she's worried about what lawmakers could do and expand down the road if Amendment 79 passes.
So this legislature, come January, can come and allocate a multi-million-dollar bill funding abortion procedures.
Bianca and Lauren are worried about what lawmakers could do, too, if it doesn't.
Coloradans have said time and time again that we deserve and we have the right to access abortion care and that it is a right. And yet we are constantly seeing attacks. We're constantly seeing legislation every year that threaten that right. And so now is the time that we protect it in the Constitution.
If passed, Amendment 79 would also repeal Colorado's restriction on using public money for abortion care, meaning state and local tax dollars could pay for abortions through Medicaid or government employees' health insurance plan. Opposition groups are worried about the doors that could open down the road. Our team is making it really easy for you as you need all the information before you vote for Election Day. Just text the word VOTE to 303-871-1491. We'll text you back a link to our full voter guide.
A Colorado Springs police officer is getting a lot of credit for helping a 9-year-old who had run away from home.
Sometimes you feel a certain way, huh? Yeah. I'm proud of you that you're acknowledging how you feel and you need help. This is how we get the help.
The voice of Officer Craig Johnson. It was a few weeks ago that his department got a call about the child who'd left home and was having thoughts of self-harm. Johnson himself is a father of 5. He said he made sure to let the child know they weren't alone. Over the course of 45 minutes, he and that child connected.
I just let them know that they weren't in trouble, and I was just there to help. And that was genuine. That's my only purpose in that moment. So many days there's negative endings to a lot of what we do in police work, and when you can walk away just really feeling like you helped someone, that's the best feeling. And in the end, the child agreed to let Officer Johnson take them to a facility for mental health treatment.